In a move that has sent shockwaves across the United States, the Trump administration has lifted the ban on segregated facilities for federal contractors. This controversial decision, enacted quietly in February of 2025, has ignited a firestorm of debate about its implications for civil rights and racial equality in America. The policy change, brought to light by an NPR report in March, has left many wondering if we are witnessing a return to the days of separate but equal, a dark chapter in American history that many thought had been closed for good. The removal of the ban, spearheaded by a memo from the U.S. General Services Administration, allows for the possibility of separate facilities for people of different races in areas like waiting rooms, restaurants, and even drinking fountains. While the memo does not explicitly endorse segregation, it effectively opens the door for its return by removing a crucial safeguard against discriminatory practices. This shift comes on the heels of a series of actions by the Trump administration aimed at dismantling diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across various sectors. The move has been met with fierce opposition from civil rights groups and advocates who argue that it represents a dangerous regression in the fight for racial justice. They fear that the policy change, even if not immediately leading to widespread segregation, sends a clear message that discrimination is acceptable and will be tolerated. The NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund has condemned the move, calling it a direct assault on the progress made during the civil rights movement. The February 2025 memo, the epicenter of this controversy, explicitly instructs civil agencies to cease including the prohibition of segregated facilities clause in new solicitations and contracts. This seemingly innocuous bureaucratic directive has profound implications. By removing this clause, the federal government is essentially signaling that it no longer considers the prevention of segregation a priority when awarding contracts. This shift in policy marks a significant departure from decades of federal efforts to promote integration and equal opportunity. Since the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the U.S. government has played a crucial role in dismantling segregation and combating discrimination. The February memo, however, represents a stark reversal of this commitment, raising concerns about the administration's dedication to upholding the values of equality and justice. Critics argue that the memo's language reveals a deliberate attempt to erode hard-won civil rights protections. The omission of any mention of segregation or discrimination, they argue, is not an oversight but a calculated strategy to quietly roll back progress under the radar of public scrutiny. The Trump administration, however, has defended the move, claiming that it is simply eliminating unnecessary bureaucracy and promoting fairness for all Americans. The specter of segregation looms large over this policy change, evoking painful memories of a time when racial discrimination was not just legal, but deeply ingrained in the fabric of American society. The separate but equal doctrine enshrined in the infamous Plessy v. Ferguson Supreme Court ruling of 1896 allowed for the segregation of public facilities based on race, leading to decades of systemic discrimination and disenfranchisement of African Americans. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s, through courageous acts of resistance and tireless advocacy, fought to dismantle this unjust system. The landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, paving the way for a more just and equitable society. However, the fight for racial justice is far from over, and the Trump administration's recent actions have reignited fears that the hard-won gains of the civil rights movement are under threat. The decision to lift the ban on segregated facilities, while not explicitly reinstating segregation, carries a chilling symbolic weight. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of progress and the persistent threat of discrimination in a society still grappling with its racist past.